Are we on?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so this is the regular meeting for April 28th, 2026, now in session. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which is the republic for which is one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the clerk will call the roll.
President Morris,
Here.
Councilmember Haddad,
Here.
Hagen, Barone.
Here.
Sarver,
Here.
Boston,
Here.
Roberts. Here. Belton. Volo,
Here.
President. Here. Moranti,
Here.
Warren present.
Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the March 24th regular meeting and place them on file? Motion from Claire, second from Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Committee department reports have been received and placed on file. They are composed to the website. May I have a motion and second to place the committee reports on file? Motion by Dr. Dewan, second by Claire. All in favor?
Aye.
Communications have been posted to the city website. May I have a motion and second to receive the communications and place them on file? Motion. Dewan, second Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So one of the communications that we received, two actually, relates to the pocketbook factory. So I think at this juncture, we also have, some old business relating to clarification of the code. But at this juncture, if anyone wants to discuss, any council members have any comments on the communications regarding the pocketbook factory? We received both a petition that I circulated last week, and we received yesterday a response from the pocketbook factory. Any discussion?
Does anyone know what code enforcement's input on this?
I have not gotten any input from code enforcement on this.
The only, short-term solutions we discussed at the safety committee meeting, which we passed along to DPW through, HPD, were to, implement the signs and painting on those streets. And now that today, I think is the first day that they started doing that, so let's, try to see what changes happen in the short term. Maybe some of the problems are mitigated just by some corrective parking on, at least for the short-term safety issues, so.
And in addition, at the end of last year, there was a process in place to have an agreement for the pocketbook factory to lease a substantial portion of the parking spaces behind the firehouse. There were issues with that in that DPW had not been brought into the discussion, and there were some problems with how that was done in terms of the procedure. And so that did not go through in December. We then had the snow situation that we all remember in February and March. So they now have a site plan, and that contract is going through the appropriate channels and should be before the council. I hope by next month that they will formally be leasing, and then they will be paving that portion of the parking lot which is behind the firehouse. So that also, I think, will contribute. Any other council member comments? Dominic?
Just got a question. So if I remember from the planning board, one of the plans were to have permits for the municipal parking lot. Do we know if the pocketbook factory have any permits to utilize?
I know that you purchased 40.
Yes.
Yes, they,
Permits for municipal, okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
yes, they did.
Yep.
Any other comments?
Are they here today to speak?
I'm about to ask the public if they have anything to say. Do you have any comments?
No, this is not.
Anyone from the public who would like to speak on this? If you could, you don't have to state your name, but if you could indicate whether you're a Hudson resident or your
Hudson
connection.
resident Ward 4, Carla Sadoff. There was something I read, and I think it was in the petition to regarding this. was questioning what was proposed versus what was actually there regarding the noise, the equipment, things like that.
Mhm.
So that would seem to be low-hanging fruit to find out if what was proposed that the planning board agreed to versus what's actually on the top, which would also speak to people's concerns
Right.
about it. So are there actions to coincide with that statement and to find out?
So I don't know if you've had an opportunity to see the response from the pocketbook factory. We posted
No,
it.
it's not.
No, we got it last night and we posted it today. So in response to the mechanical noise issue of the petition, the statement is we are in full compliance of Hudson City Code 2106. And the rooftop units, our full project was approved by the City of Hudson Planning Board, and the construction was overseen by and approved by the City of Hudson Code Enforcement. We have permanent certificate of occupancy on file. We also, it's a registered building, so the design was also overseen and approved by New York State Historic Preservation and National Park. So this is posted on the website, bullet by bullet responses. I think, you know, I haven't seen the site plan that was approved by the planning board, but the misconnect may be that things that may have been discussed were not part of the final approved site plan.
Right?
And so that ideally would be a discussion between the residents and pocketbook and probably the mayor's office to try to see if this is something that could be agreed to. So, but
Right.
it was something I am going to refer this petition to Henry's committee, which is safety. That's where the police department reports. So that's where we will refer the issue to noise or parking, etc. Those really are not things that we as a council can take action on. Right. So that's why I would really like to see engagement with code enforcement, mayor's office, police department, and the community members and the hotel, trying to figure out how do we work through this together.
Awesome.
Because we can't, there's not much we can do.
Clear. I would also like to consider, it be considered. There's an old saying called trust but verify.
Yes.
So the Pocketbook Factory, thank you Pocketbook Factory for everything it's providing in many ways. But they're saying that referenced against what the planning board said, like if the planning board's documentation is a match from what the Pocketbook's saying, then great, the next step is safety meetings, seeing how people can work together. But I would just
Oh, no, I agree.
suggest that.
Yes. I'm seeing a disconnect between what the community members are saying and what I have heard from the park.
Okay, then I misunderstood because I misunderstood you reading this saying, okay, so that
No, no,
everybody's
I- because you have-
so everybody's
Not how,
good.
no, I just read it
Okay,
because
thank
I
you.
wanted to give you their response.
Great, thank you.
Do you know the sound? Is it more at night that you hear it?
I don't hear it at all. I'm on North Fifth and Prospect. I live in the fourth ward, but I do think that,
The sound is constant.
I'm sorry, can you, for the record, can you identify, and you are Hudson resident?
Hudson resident, I live 4 doors down from the.
Okay, go ahead.
I was the one that sort of pulled the neighborhood together to, put together this petition.
Mhm.
My major concern personally is the noise and the people that sort of live on it's essentially a handful of homes that sort of are the corridor that the noise goes towards. And I've religiously documented the noise level, since the thing's been, installed. And it's constant. They're correct that it complies with Hudson's noise ordinance, on average. But there are times when I do go out there and from different parts in that area between Prospect and Washington Street, that the noise is in excess. I have photographic decimeter proof of that. Is that validated? Probably not. I don't personally know what more I can do to address this issue. I've had conversations directly with the owners about it. They acknowledged it, but then sort of dismissed it and told them that there was still more work to do and to contact them once they were complete. As far as I know, they're pretty darn near complete with what they're doing regarding landscaping and stuff. But the mechanical units that are on the roof, whether it be the HVAC or the exhaust from the restaurant, does impose like a noise level that is encroaching on what's allowable per the code, which I believe is it can't exceed 55 after a certain time of night. I think it's 10 p.m. I went out there at 12:30 the night of the gala this past weekend. Obviously, there was no like music, heavy bass event going on. But it's 12:30 at night. I think the gala was over because I saw people walking past my house. And it was registered at like 52 to 57. There's different parts along Prospect, which are closer to the units that are on the ground, adjacent to their event space. I think their club, that even when the club is not running, are in excess of that. So that's why I sort of canvassed the neighborhood of both Washington Street and Prospect, as well as North Sixth, to ask people what their thoughts were. The majority of the people did not have much complaint about the noise. The people that did were the people that essentially had yards that are sort of in that corridor. The construction of the building, which is, you know, I commend the Pocketbook Factory for what they did to the exterior in keeping with the overall look of the building. But it serves as just like a giant amphitheater, and the noise that's coming off of the mechanical units, as well as the restaurant exhaust, just gets channeled right down that cavity all the way to, I forget what cross street that is there, between it's happening between 5th and 6th, but I can't remember the name of the street, but like every house that essentially has a backyard that faces that facade of the building, and those units that are facing down into it are experiencing this noise. And it consistently with everyone I talked to there, when in their backyard, had the same thing. Everyone that were on the opposing sides sort of had more concerns regarding the parking stuff. It's
Sounds like
culminated in the proposal or the petition that I put together.
Sounds like it's a catch basin, basically.
It's definitely a catch basin, and as long as you're in the sight angle of the noise, you hear it, and it's, like I said, 24 hours a day. Everyone here is welcome to come to my house, hang out in my backyard, and see if they hear it.
Now, you're not talking about music, we're only talking about the mechanicals.
To be quite honest with you, from my house, which is on Washington Street, in my backyard, the mechanical units during music events, whether a door opens or not, are louder than the subwoofers that are in their event space. When I talk to people that are along Prospect Street, they sort of say, we really don't hear the noise too much, but when the doors open, it's really loud, or even when the doors aren't open, it's loud. When I talked to some of the people associated with the Pocketbook Factory, they said that after, you know, pretty much when they first had an event, they started trying to implement some devices inside the buildings to do that, and I commend them on doing that effort. But like I said, the issue I personally have is the mechanical units on the roof, and that noise is 24 hours a day. And it's louder when the restaurant's running because it's a combination of the HVAC and the exhaust.
Do we have any other, any raised hands online?
Rich wanted
Do-
to be the.
Excuse me?
For clarity, you said the corridor, so, I kind of, where exactly is that?
So on Washington Street and Prospect Street, the houses that are on the, let's just call it the south side of Washington Street or the odd side and the even side of Prospect Street and I live there, but I don't know what that cross street is. Maybe it would be called Cross Street for all I know.
Gosh.
Dodge.
No, it's not Dodge.
Dodge is between state and.
I mean, I can look at it, but essentially.
Franklin.
Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin.
Frankfurt. Anyhow, so 14, 15, 20 houses that are there, they're between Prospect and Washington Street, there isn't an alley. It's like the only two streets that don't have an alley between them. And essentially the houses create sort of the opposing sort of thing. So if you walk along Franklin Street, you don't hear the noise because the houses that are in there or the vegetation that are on there is blocking the noise. But if you go into any one of those people's backyards, you immediately hear the noise. It's the minute you have a side angle of those mechanical units, you hear the noise. And then, like you said, as you walk up Prospect Street, whether you're on the odd or even side, the unit that is on the west end of their sort of event space, which is on the ground, makes noise, and that just recently was kind of fired up in the last couple of months, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's.
And you also hear their hoods and the mechanical units on the roof. There's a house that was my friend's house who just recently just got sold, as well as a house that was demolished. If you go in between those, which is essentially being inside the pocketbook factory's courtyard or out exterior space, like the noise is pretty significant in that space as well. On one evening back, I don't know, a few months ago, there was no party going on or dance party or whatever going on. I went to the backyard of my friend's neighbor and I had readings on my decimeters that were like around the 70s.
So I think that this is not, obviously, we've gotten emails, we've gotten your petition. I've had conversations with some of the residents. I've also met with Pocketbook themselves before the petition came through. This is clearly not something that we can resolve here, right? So what I would like to propose, as I said, I think having Henry's committee, which has the police department reporting to it, take a look at this and then try to organize. I mean, Dominic and Claire are your representatives on the council.
On one side.
Excuse me,
On one side of the street,
on one side of the street, okay.
Rich and.
Okay,
Rich and
but
Jennifer on one
if
side.
those of us who represent the folks who are impacted, can you coordinate with the mayor's office to meet with Code, with police department and with the Pocketbook and try to, you know, as our first community members indicated, look at, you know, verifying that what is there really is in compliance with what was approved by the planning board. And then move on from there. Neil, does that address your next steps for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm individually like taking on some of this stuff myself, just.
Right,
for due
but from the point of view of
But if I
responsibility,
could have the help of the council members as well to.
Right.
Sort of tackle some of these things that would be very much appreciated.
we have, yep, go ahead.
Hi, Sean Rowland from Pocketbook. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the council received my communication.
Yes, we posted it.
Okay, great. So I think, you know, each of the points in the petition, I addressed to, you know, our understanding of city code, and, you know, addressed specific points for parking and continuing to work with the city. We're in an active negotiation with the city to finalize the lease for a long-term parking lot.
I mentioned that before you came on.
Yeah, so that's moving along well. I don't expect any issues. They are referring us to have to go through, you know, proper planning, so it's gonna take time. But in the meantime, we continue to communicate to all of our staff as well as any hotel guests. They need to use the lot at 604 Washington Street, even though it's currently not much of a development. And, you know, our doors are always open and whenever it's public and whenever there is an issue with anyone, you know, the local resident sees someone who's parking, even though it is a public street, can't control where people park. We certainly message to all of our guests that they should be using our lot. And we are certainly sympathetic to neighborhood concerns around parking on the street. And yeah, I mean, the sentiment of my response was that we want to be good neighbors. We are all in community together. We went through, you know, a multi-year planning process with the city of Hudson. Code enforcement oversaw the entire project. New York State Historic Preservation Office oversaw the project, and the National Park Service oversaw the process. So I can appreciate that, you know, you want to do due diligence and welcome the council members to do the same, but we followed the letter of the law. We did everything by the books through all of those processes. So I, you know, just wanted to make sure that everyone understands we really followed the rules of everything we did. I understand it's a big project, it's a change in the neighborhood, it's a big impact. And that's real, and I empathize, but it's also, you know, it brings a lot of positive, exciting things to the neighborhood and to the city, particularly in the form of revenue to the city, which is certainly important and needed, given we all know the fiscal state of things. And, you know, we're really doing our best to be a space that is open and welcoming both to local residents and to visitors. And that comes with the pros and cons, but I just wanted to really share that, you know, it's not on mood years, but it is, you know, that building is a commercial site, and it was there long before any of the houses were there in the neighborhood. And I get people who come in every day, say, I remember when, you know, my grandparents worked here, and every day at 5 o'clock, there would be a line of cars around the block, and everyone would stream out, and the neighborhood would be flooded with people. So like, it's part of living in an urban environment that you have sites that are of different scales and serve different uses. So I think that's also important, just the way, you know, in line with the other concerns. Thank you.
So we're going to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Nicole Vidor and I live on Allen Street. And I wasn't here when we were talking about the parking. But I think it's another example of these traffic studies that are kind of bogus. And that it's time for us to have residential parking in Hudson. You know, we pay very large taxes as homeowners. And we could be like many other places across the country where we have a sticker on our car that says we live here and we get to park here. And if you don't have a sticker, you can't park there. It's pretty straightforward on residential streets.
I'm sorry, I just don't want anyone to make the correlation between the pocketbook factory and a residential parking issue, because the parking requirements were changed at the planning board level in the city, so that project could be
We're just.
done, so it's not, oh yeah, so
You know,
it's a
we all
separate issue.
look at this situation for residents that live here, that more and more, I'm all for the pocketbook. I totally support it 100%. This isn't directed at the pocketbook. It's directed at the situation in the city for residents, especially elderly residents. And parking, and it's real. And I would hope that the common council would start to look at it.
Any other comments? Yes, but this is the last comment. Go
Is
ahead.
it possible for me to ask the question directed towards the representative?
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Is it possible for me to ask the question to the representative?
No.
No? Okay.
The comments have to be directed to us. You can make a comment.
Well,
And there's,
just make a general comment and.
you can make a comment and then
I don't know if this is
if
the
Dr.
committee-
wants to respond to the council, they can. Go ahead.
Board, but I'm curious to know if, you know, I know there were parking studies done and some other probably environmental really good studies done, as the pocketbook factory went through the process of getting their permit for proceed and doing what they did. I'm just curious if a study in terms of like the noise impact related to the mechanical units was ever done by an acoustic engineer or mechanical engineers with, when I approached the prior building code, he told me, quote unquote, that the units that they engineered and put on their roof were silent units and you know, would be code compliant. And my question is there a study done in terms of like the amount of noise that they do give off. Yes, of it being an acceptable solution to the project.
So that would certainly not have been done at the council level, that would have been at the planning board.
And that's fine.
And I don't know, I don't know, if that's where I would address that
Yeah.
question too, because I don't have.
reached out to the planning board very early in the process, and I've received no communication back from them.
Okay.
So, like, I guess I'm just looking for whatever avenues I can to, you know, sort of state my concerns and get the answers that I'm looking.
Well, there's new members of the planning board, so I don't know how much they would know of this because it's a while back. So it's probably, you know, somewhere in the code documentation that was submitted and some kind of paper that was submitted prior to becoming a member. Researching.
Based on my research, and it's very limited and it's not my area of expertise, but there is, I believe it's a SQRA violation, which if that study wasn't done, would,
The only thing I can say on this is that you should take it to the planning board.
okay.
Planning board is independent of the council.
Okay.
We don't appoint them. And that to me is probably the best forum to take that question to.
When do they meet?
Any other public comments? Okay,
I just
so Carol, sorry,
Can I just
can
ask
we address the question? Here?
The code enforcement officer is really who oversees
Yes.
what has been done. So if it's been through the planning board process and they have produced their findings and their determinations on the matter, then it's really in the hands of code enforcement. Code enforcement is one who's going to compare the documents and the approvals to what is going on the ground. So that, I think you should actually need to start with the code enforcement officer, because once the planning board has issued its approval for something, it's done. Unless it needs to be sent back to them for some reason.
But I'm understanding this question to be in part, what exactly did the planning board approve?
But even that-
And also, did they follow the
Well,
appropriate?
that's now in the hands of the code
Right,
enforcement.
right.
So,
But, right, the issue here is that, you know, we can try to navigate and, work with residents and work with the police department and the code enforcement office, which is essentially under the mayor's office. We can help with that, but we don't have authority over any of it. So I want you to know that, like, we do hear your concerns. But I think you have to go through the appropriate channels. I did actually invite code enforcement to be here this evening, but they were unable to make it. Any other public comments? Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to move on. Bills. You have the list of bills on your desks. May I have a motion and a second to pay the bills? Motion from Henry, second from Jason. Anybody have any questions, comments? No? Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote?
President Morris,
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad.
Aye.
Fernhagen. Brony.
Aye.
Sarwar. Foster.
Aye.
Roberts.
Aye.
Felton. Vola.
Aye.
Cousin.
Aye.
Moretti.
Aye.
Carried.
Right. Now we're moving on to resolutions. We have a resolution appointing Commissioner of Deeds, Commissioners for, may I have a motion and second? Jason and Dawn. Roll call vote?
President Morris,
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad,
aye.
Fernhagen. Brony.
Aye.
Sarwar.
Aye.
Foster.
Yeah.
Roberts.
Aye.
Felton. Vola.
Aye.
Cousin.
Aye.
Moretti.
Aye.
Okay. Next is a resolution, with a recommendation to this Climate Smart Community Task Force of, Alexandra Semchenko. May I have a motion? Fair, and second is Rich. Roll call?
President Morris,
Yes,
Councilmember Haddad,
Aye.
Fernhagen, Roney.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts.
Aye.
Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin. Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
next is an issue we discussed at the informal meeting, honorary street naming designation for New Brenner Way. In the code, with the language relating to naming a street after a living person requires a unanimous vote of the council. And as we have two council members who are not present tonight, votes by majority, whether that's a simple majority or supermajority and so forth, they're all based upon the full council. And absence and recusal or abstention, they count as neither yes nor no. So since we do not have a full council here to vote on this, we will be pausing it for now. And if people have any questions, whatever from last week, they can follow up. But we are tabling this for now. I do want to know if there's anyone online or in the room who has any comment on this. Are you seeing anything, Logan?
No hands raised.
Okay, anybody in the room have any comments on this? Okay, so we'll just hold this for next one. Okay. Next is a resolution accepting senior center donations. May I have a motion? Luan and Claire. Roll call.
President Morris,
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad,
Aye.
Fernhagen, Roney.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts. Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin. Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay. Next is the firefighter service award program 2025. Motion and second vote, Luan and Claire. Roll call.
President Morris,
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad,
Aye.
Fernhagen, Roney.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts. Felton. Volo. Cousin. Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Next is a resolution approving the mayor to execute a license agreement with Hudson Tablets. How can we have a motion and a second? Jason is a motion, Henry is a second. Roll call vote.
President Morris,
Yep.
Councilmember Haddad,
Aye.
Fernhagen, Roney.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts. Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin. Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Next is authorizing a license agreement with the Hudson River Historic Boat Restoration Savings Society. May I have a motion and second? Jason and Henry. Roll call vote.
President Morris,
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad,
Aye.
Fernhagen, Roney.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Foster. Roberts. Felton. Volo. Cousin. Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay. Our next is authorizing DPW transfers for street lighting billing, motion, from, Jason and Henry. Any questions on this? I think we discussed it at length last week. Yes. Yeah, okay, roll call vote.
President Morris,
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad,
Aye.
Fernhagen, Roney.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts. Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin. Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Next, authorizing training for planning board members. May I have a motion to vote and a second? Fair motion and, Henry second. Roll call.
President Morris,
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad,
Aye.
Fernhagen, Rooney.
Aye.
Sarwar.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts.
Aye.
Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Next is selecting a Piso vendor for additional EV charging stations. I have a motion and second. Motion from, Rich, second from Henry. May we have a roll call vote?
President Morris.
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad. Fernhagen. Rooney.
Aye.
Sarwar.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Robert.
Aye.
Felton. Volo. Cousin.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Next is authorizing the renewal of the charge point contract. May I have a motion and second? Motion from Rich, second from Duan. Roll call vote.
President Morris.
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad.
Aye.
Fernhagen. Rooney.
Aye.
Sarwar.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts.
Aye.
Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, next is the 2026 events awards. We had distributed this last week. Do I have a motion and second to vote? Rich, second, Duan. Roll call.
President Morris.
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad.
Aye.
Fernhagen. Rooney.
Aye.
Sarwar.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts.
Aye.
Felton. Volo. Cousin.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Next is authorizing the mayor to hold a public hearing regarding a CDBG project. May I have a motion and second? Duan, and second, Jason. Roll call vote.
President Morris.
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad.
Aye.
Fernhagen. Rooney.
Aye.
Sarwar.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts.
Aye.
Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Next, we have a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a collection service agreement with T2. May I have a motion, Duan, second? We have a second from Jason. And roll call vote.
President Morris.
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad.
Aye.
Fernhagen. Rooney.
Aye.
Sarwar.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts.
Aye.
Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay. Next is authorizing funds transfer to capital fund for parking kiosks implementation. May I have a motion to vote and a second? Henry, Duan. Roll call vote.
President Morris.
Yes.
Councilmember Haddad.
Aye.
Fernhagen. Rooney.
Aye.
Sarwar.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Roberts. Felton. Volo.
Aye.
Cousin.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Carried.
So now we're going into local laws. And while you have received all of these electronically and everything has been posted, and you have had them for well more than the required time to be able to vote on them, what Lyric and I have discovered is that we did not officially adopt a protocol that allows for electronic transmission as laying on the desk. And so we have to physically lay these on your desk, which is why Lyric has printed out copies of these laws and put them out for you so that we will just, they're not urgent, we will vote on them next month. The first one is the one we talked about with the SDRs. And this, yes, so the second is just cleaning up our video conferencing, repealing current local law and changing it to a resolution so that we can be more, nimble in making change with the state law change. So that, those are now laid on. The first one is the, local operates SDR that is now laid on your desks. And the second is the local law repealing, current, the law that was put in place, and then, a local law clarifying, that section of the code. Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry, maybe.
No, I didn't put the STR one because we already had a public hearing on that one.
I'm sorry, which one are we on?
This one, I didn't print it because we already held the public hearing and everything. I only printed this one because we weren't addressing this one.
Okay, well, I think that we probably, I thought you printed this one as well. I think we need to, print that out.
Okay.
And physically give it to you. We have plenty of time. Yes,
Would it be a good time are we handling the clarifying law differently than the others? The others you said are fairly straightforward, we just didn't put them on the desk. So we're gonna vote on them next.
well, no, we're not handling them differently. What we discovered when we were getting ready to vote on these was when we went into, in the past, the process has been the president has a physical copy of the law. And they're just a statement, we're laying this on your desks. But they weren't physically given to the council members. And without formally adopting a process to say we are going to transmit things electronically, and there are rules under municipal law around that. That says you can send it by email, that's fine, but you have to officially adopt that as your transmission, everybody has to agree to it. So I'd like to put that in place, these are not urgent, so we will get you a physical copy of, the short-term rental piece. And what we currently have are the physical copies,
Okay.
the physical copy relating to, video conferencing.
Okay, right.
But it's not, so we're not doing anything different, we're just trying to clean things up.
I know, I felt like I heard you say that they're not urgent, they're simple, we'll vote on them next month. But I feel like the one law.
Which one?
Take the clarifying,
This one is about the dock. It's an old law, this one, from Donna.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That one is from Donna.
yeah, I'm sorry, but I will go back to that in a second, so I beg your pardon, I'm sorry,
like,
I got turned
it
around.
hasn't in that same section.
Yeah, no.
Like we're in a different place as a council.
So right now, the ones that we're not doing anything with right now, that we will vote on next month, are short-term rental and, the video conference.
Thank you.
And we need to give you a physical copy of the short-term rental between now and our next meeting, so that we can proceed. With regard to clarifying code section 325 of the Hudson Code, at this point, we had that, last week, we looked at it. At this point, I think we need to do some additional research, into, potential, outcomes into litigation in other municipalities. And I don't think that we are at a point personally where we can, take any action or vote on this. I would like us to do some more work on, what the possible ramifications are and outcomes. Also, the version that we looked at that we currently have, is the version submitted to us and the preamble to that law. Not the body itself from the 2010 data, but the preamble is something that I would want to update. There were pieces in the version from last year that I thought were worth putting in, so we don't have a final copy that we could then send to the county and the local planning board. So we can't vote on it until we do that, and they have a month to respond. But I don't think we're at a point where we have a final document that we can agree on and say we want to send this to the county. So that's where that's, yeah, thank you for catching me on that. So any comment from the council?
Margaret, so does the clock start now? It's late on our
But
desk.
the clock doesn't start because we're not sending it to the county. We're not ready. We don't have a final version that we are ready to send to the county.
No, I'm talking about these. The video conference.
There's no clock.
What do you?
I thought you said to lay it on our desk for the local law.
Oh, yeah, the other items on the desk. Oh, not that, not that.
That's not,
Right.
yeah, you have to do it 8 days before you take action.
Okay,
And so all we're doing is we physically gave you a copy of it.
gotcha.
You will have had it for 8 days the next
Okay,
time.
yeah, that's what I asked.
We have had it
I know, right, I know,
for 6 months.
I know.
So it's like, okay. So any comments from the council on clarifying the code? You were all in agreement that we need to do some more work here. Okay. Any public comments? Yes, yes.
Hello, everyone again. My name is Donna Strites. I'm a resident in the First Ward, and I'd like to make a few comments on the local law clarification 325-17-1D1. As the common council considers this proposal, I highly recommend that council members listen to 15 minutes of William Sharp's comments from the September 26, 2011 council meeting where the FWRP was adopted. It starts about the 57-minute mark on the audio file that's included in your meeting materials. I'd like to read a brief excerpt from that. A lot of the requirements which are in the conditional use permit actually mirror other sections of the city's laws and ordinances. They may not have been brought to bear before, but now they are actually in the specific conditions to ensure that the use is a good neighbor. There's a recognition that if there's going to be a continued dock operation down there, that it try to coexist and exist well with other kinds of uses that are happening in the city of Hudson. The reintroduction of people to its waterfront, the revitalization of housing stock, the kinds of new vitality that public and private investment has brought to Hudson. And so this zoning attempts to create that kind of balance. The hard reality now, and the reason for the proposed code clarification, is that the fundamental balance that Attorney Sharp outlined when discussing the LWRP intent is being challenged by the current dock owner. For years, they've told the planning board they have no plans to increase activity at the dock, yet the 2020 truck study reveals otherwise. And whenever limits are discussed, their response is legal threats. You all should ask yourself, why is that? The reason seems clear. A permit without limits is far more valuable for business and for resale than one with limits. And that's actually why clear caps on intensity of use are essential and why this code clarification matters. Our waterfront is a shared asset. It's our crown jewel. It can support a mix of uses, including industry, but only if reasonable limits are in place to ensure those uses remain good neighbors, as intended by the LWRP. You have the authority, and I believe the responsibility, to clarify the code to help make sure that intent is followed, to protect our waterfront and our city for that matter. I urge the council not to be influenced by the threat of litigation and do not focus on who owns the dock today. The code applies to the dock, whoever that may be. Ownership can change, but the consequences of your decision may last for decades. Thanks for your consideration, and we sincerely appreciate your support of this proposal.
Can I ask a question? Come on. I've listened to that section. Please, can you fill me in more about who Attorney Sharp is and who he represents?
Oh, yes. William Sharp is the attorney for the New York State Department of State, who provided guidance to the city of Hudson in the development of its LWRP and interpreted the LWRP.
Thank you. And then later on in his comments, he made an analogy about a horse farm. And that if there were 10 horses in a field and then it became 20 horses, it was, so I think it was a little confusing, it was colloquial, but it's also an interesting way to think about how much growth is too much growth. And it was in its own words.
It's in that 15 minutes.
Any other public comment?
Glenn Fain, this, owner of Kitty's and Grapefruit Wines and the Caboose and, the Wind Hotel and our new CAS development, which we're very excited about. We're, submitting our drawings very soon, so we'll be in front of you soon. I'm here to urge you to bring this local law forward and for a vote and adopt it. So you all know this story probably better than I do. I've been here for 8 years, but it's an old story. So in 2010, Hudson faced a defining moment. A Swiss multinational manufacturing company, Holcim, proposed a massive industrial expansion on our waterfront. The community responded, thousands of signatures, extensive public comment, grassroots effort. It was defeated. The city then updated its zoning code to ensure that no future owner could expand industrial operations beyond what existed at that time. That was a clear intentional decision to set limits on scale to reflect Hudson's vision for the waterfront, the balanced vision. We wanted industry to coexist with recreational use of the park, at the docks, residential development, and a broader economic opportunity. That was their vision. So recent decisions have opened the door not just to increased truck volume, yes, but to the removal of any meaningful cap on how large operations at the dock can grow. So without clear enforceable limits, that growth is effectively unlimited. This doesn't affect just one operator. It applies to any future owner of the dock. So this law, it's a clarification. It's not a change in direction. It's a clarification of what was already adopted as the zoning code. It ensures the limits the city established in 2010. And it assures that it's enforceable. So this law clarifies what Hudson already decided, that there are enforceable limits to industrial activity on the waterfront. So I think the law in front of you is straightforward, and what it does is it reaffirms that expansion beyond those levels from 2010 or 2010 was never permitted. And it ensures that those limits cannot be reinterpreted or worked around. I understand there's serious concern about legal risk. I want to address that just head on. The idea of adopting a clarification like this that exposes the city to massive financial liability, it's just not how the law works. So what would happen if you adopted it? There's a signal that there would be an Article 70. That happens. That's not uncommon. The city has a mechanism to deal with an Article 70 in an affordable way. And so that's likely what would happen. Frankly, in my opinion, to keep the waterfront balanced, we can't afford not to engage it. So I encourage you to adopt the law, look at it, adopt it, and go forward and try and look for a balanced waterfront. That's my hope, and I think that's what our Hudson's vision was in 2010. So it's not from just what's happening now, but it's what could happen next. So because once these limits are gone, they're gone. They're gone. And the next owner may not share Hudson's vision. So this is your moment to hold the line Hudson drew in 2010 and let it not be erased. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Hi, I'm still Nicole. I live on Allen Street and I look directly down and I go to the river many times during the week. And I think maybe, the riverfront in Hudson has always been sort of light and, it's changing rapidly, but it still has an old sort of, people have old feelings about it. And I would suggest that the council actually go down there and try to go from what would be what is the train station, and let's say you got off the train and you wanted to go get a coffee, so you went across the street, and then you looked down the street and you heard about the warehouse and you wanted to go there. Will you be taking your life in your hands if you did it? Number one. Number two, if you're on the side of the tracks you're trying to cross to go to the riverfront, just now with the increased traffic, I watch it, there are trucks now like going back and forth all the time. So there is no sort of space there for people to exist with those trucks, and I think, as has been said, if this law is not adopted, then moving forward, that could increase infinitum. Not only for the safety of people and the enjoyment of the riverfront, but also just for the air quality alone, right? I mean, I guess you all know the plans for down there, and it's gonna be transformed into something it already is, but something really wonderful. And I think it does, the city owes it to itself and not to the gravel company to really consider the city and the people that live here. And I do hope that you all really consider it, because it's really important for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
I just want to second what Nicole just said. I happen to be bringing a friend from Bard who is suddenly interested in Hudson because of the building exchange. And we stood in front, we went to Basilica Antique Warehouse, Kitty. I'm a resident here for 8 years. I was stunned by the increase already of trucks. It was constant. The sound was so loud that my friend and I had to move at one point. We were on the other side of the road. There was constant travel of buses, of trucks. And what stunned me mostly, from my understanding, I was at the meetings here that happened a few months ago. These trucks were uncovered. I'm not a scientist, but I saw gravel, I saw dust being picked up, and as Nicole mentioned, go down there and spend some time there and see this for sound, for dust, the danger. I actually witnessed an Amtrak train guy running out, stopping a train with his hands for a bus, let's keep calling them buses, for a truck to pass first. I mean, to me, this is, the heart and soul of Hudson is the Basilica, is the Hudson Park, is Kitty's, that it be marred by this excess. And again, as Nicole and Donna was saying, the idea of restriction and ban is so necessary. This is all too tight and too interwoven for this to be unrestricted industry buildup on our Hudson waterfront. Thank you.
thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, anything online?
No hands raised.
Okay. So I don't think I have anything under old business. No, I have that there. The communication from the mayor was that filed under communications with the finance march.
I did not post it, no. I was just having a phone.
Okay, switch communication.
Yeah.
We did get communication from the mayor regarding finance march community, which you should all have received. Okay, then moving on to new business. Do we have any new business that we wish to bring up?
I do, just a brief thing on housing, if that's okay.
Excuse me?
Brief thing on housing, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Logan, you want to put that up, please? Let me know when it's up. So there's this program that Minneapolis has. I don't know if it's something we can do, but I would like to see if it's possible. It's called the 4D program. And basically, it's an incentive for basically mom and pops with properties and small landlords to make their property and rentals affordable by giving them kind of a little tax incentive. So there's a formula involved, and there's some, it's a 10-year program. So basically it allows people to, and there's restriction on how much rent can be increased. And there's also what's a good thing is that if this gets enacted and somebody applies and there's already a tenant in there, their, from my understanding, their wage, their salary isn't based on the affordability, that if someone was new coming into the program. So that allows people to, not struggle, staying in place, with restricted income. Where the second, now if you move into the property and you're in the low income classification, once you're in, I believe, a year, the classification then goes away, but you're allowed to stay there, even if you may get a raise or whatever. So there's some cool things about this program. I don't know how it can be enacted, but it also can incentivize some of the short-term rentals, maybe to use some of their property for this. Mom and pops, it's someone with multi-units, a family unit, one unit can be used. It's only the unit that is given affordability, but it also gives that incentive for low income, but also moderate income, but also a small landlord, where it's not giving up a big pilot, and it incentivized to keep it affordable. So, I mean, I don't know if you can have this, there's this, brief summary. I can send everyone this.
Yeah, I think if you can share this with the
Right,
full
because there's a
council.
lot of moving pieces to it,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things, there's a lot of
Yeah.
things that we would have, but I just want to see if that's something.
Is this something that you think Housing Trust Fund should, look at and discuss? Do some research on?
Possibly, it depends on, what it entails, if it entails,
Or is it something that you want the legal committee to look at?
I think the legal, because it might have something to, because we're changing the comprehensive plan, is knocking on our door and things like that, right? So, it might be some changes there. Ken, I think I can send it to you, just to see how this can be utilized, if it can be utilized.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big question. Just, is a general principle in New York law that often people tend to not pay much attention to, but, municipalities in New York are can be very constrained in what they can and can't do. The principle that through the courts and the Constitution and such in New York, that basically municipalities are created by the legislature, and so they only have powers that the legislature has given. They don't have any inherent powers. And so there are lots of things that they may want to do, but there actually has to be an identifiable statutory grant to do that particular thing. So sometimes things, you see some things that are done in different states, how it's going to be a great idea. So there has to be some statutory grant to the municipality to do that kind of thing, which there may be. I don't know if this is going to require anything special or not, but municipalities are not just unrestrained free agents able to do whatever legislating they want. It has to be grounded in a grant from the state legislature. So it did kind of make my ear perk up when you're talking about tax adjustments based on some kind of performance or some conditions. Because generally speaking, there's not a lot of flexibility for municipalities to impose taxes or tax adjustments. There are lots of them that have been granted by the state legislature, where there are special tax adjustments for veterans or for disabled persons or other things that originate from New York State legislative acts that are in state statute that municipalities can adopt. So something like this, we would have to, and there may be a basis for it, but it sounds like it's gonna have a lot of legal issues that we'll.
Well, we did something like this, I think it's gonna be how the Spark of Hudson did something under real property or something like that. I thought it was kind of.
For the dogs program?
Yeah, right.
There are a lot of special cases out there, but we'll have to find out what they're.
And Dominic,
Authority for this might be.
and Dominic, someone still has to pay the taxes. Like, you give someone an incentive, like Sparks or whoever, okay, great, and they get a tax break, but the taxes are still there. But everyone else just still has to pay them. So even though you might give a tax break to some, that means that everyone else just has to pay more.
Right.
So, you know, if you want to really give everyone a tax break, you have to lower the budget.
No, I agree.
But I feel like what he's,
But why don't we get a copy of the document, because we haven't read it, look at it, and think about it, and then talk about it. But we need to read it first.
Yeah.
I have one other thing, any other new business from any council members? Okay, so I just want to reiterate my statement last week. I am in the process of putting together a purpose written. I've had some interest expressed from members of the public. Continuing to collect requests for, you know, letters of interest from individuals in the community. Again, putting it out there. If anyone in the community is interested, please send me a letter by email, whatever way you like, explaining your interest, your background, what you bring to the table. And I'm hoping to get this up and running within the next month. So, okay, we have a comment online.
Yeah, Ronald.
Sorry?
Yeah, Ronald.
Hello. My comment is in relation to the just made remarks about the Charter Revision Commission. Before any process of charter revision gets underway, and certainly before expressions of interest are solicited for service on any Charter Revision Commission, the Council should become familiar with the options for setting up such a commission, the options for the Commission's procedures, and the Commission's possible goals. In other words, I think these invitations are premature. Those options and possibilities. No, I'm not, if I may go on.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were trying to.
A little bit longer? No. These options and possibilities are set forth in the Municipal Home Rule law under the Consolidated Laws of New York State. Chapter 36A, Section 4, Powers of Counties and Cities to Adopt Charters, Part 2, City Charter Revisions. I think the council should be familiar with those sections of the law. There's also a very useful publication by the state, Revising City Charters in New York State. It's part of the James A. Kuhn Local Government Technical Series, originally published in 1998, reprinted in 2015. I think it would be useful if council, either Mr. Dow, the counsel to the council, or Mr. Howard, the city general counsel, made a presentation to the council about the state of these laws and the various possibilities and provisions which are available to you. I think that before the council has considered these various options, there are at least 3 different options for constituting a charter revision commission. There's an option in which the council does it. There's an option in which the mayor does it. We're somewhat acquainted with the petition option, which the Citizens for Charter Change brought forth last year. I think these things should all be considered before anybody is invited to serve on a commission whose the manner of whose constitution has not yet been determined. This is a very, complicated process with many possibilities that need to be considered in advance. I'll just finish by saying that the last extensive charter revision took place in 1973. I believe it revised the charter from the 20s. Before we set up a charter that might be governing Hudson for the next 50 years, we need to take our time and do this slowly, carefully, and not rush through it. And I think that at every stage of the process, there should be maximum transparency and maximum public participation. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm not.
Sorry, just a moment. Sorry, Logan.
You have another hand up.
We have another hand up.
Okay, I would like to speak after that then.
Oh, sorry, is this Matt?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Yes, I've experienced city charter change in New York City. And it opens a lot of doors, and they might be the wrong ones. You have to really think about this and be clear, because it's a process that can bring good, but it also can even unintentionally cause harm. And I think we need to be cautious. And we did have to work against this, what happened in the city, because part of the intention was to eliminate some laws of the city, which many people thought were good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then you have BIL.
Hey, can you hear me?
Sir.
The
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes, go ahead.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, before I ask the question, I'd like to ask, can somebody tell me how the council determines where council members live to ensure that they're not living somewhere else than they are claiming? Has the council ever dealt with this? And is there like an official means of ensuring that council members live where they're saying they are?
Okay, so you can make one comment per topic. We have already discussed this in a previous meeting. The rules for running for office on the council are laid out by the Columbia County Board of Elections. Columbia County Board of Elections is responsible for the accuracy of the voter rolls and registration, and that's where it resides. I am not going to discuss this further.
But what if somebody moves after they've been
You have
elected?
Okay, can you mute, please? So, Bill, if you have a different question or comment, that's fine, but we're not going to engage in this conversation. I've answered your question. That's how it's done. That's where the responsibility resides. If you have another comment, that's fine. On a different topic, go ahead. You can unmute.
You can unmute.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I could maybe by a show of hands, the council members, who believes that Dewan Sarawar doesn't live with his...
Okay, can you mute, please, Logan? Okay, are there any other hands raised?
No.
Okay, so that's it for this.
Kevin Meehan was here initially. He
I'm
talked to me
sorry?
earlier. There was a citizen that, business owner that was, talked to me earlier in the day. He was coming to speak.
Yeah.
And something may have come up for him. I was just gonna briefly, touch on the topic that.
Sure, yes, go ahead. This is a new business item.
New
correct?
business item.
Yeah.
So, it's not completely under our purview, but, it did come up a little bit. Hudson Mile was denied its permit, due to some complaints of some Warren Street businesses. He owns a Warren Street business, neighbor running, and, he is in support of the event. And I won't go into too much more detail, so I don't put too many words in his mouth, but in case just something came up with and he had to leave, wanted to put it out there that it's a positive event and, was in favor.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? May I have a motion to adjourn? Ron, second. All in favor? Thank you.